Best friend too, the kind of girl you can hang with and she won't annoy you. Yeah, she's a freak in the sheets, but a lady, you know, that girl's my sidekick, my soulmate, the woman that I love most. There's just something about my lady, we're a perfect fit. Y'all wouldn't believe how dope her gaming is on these Xbox sticks. Y'all wouldn't believe how straight and tight her weed rolling skill is. Y'all wouldn't believe she ride or die till she bust your lip. Yeah, might go crazy, but sweet, but don't make her get mean. We got the best bond, friends first, second, she's my queen. Cause we royalty, do you know what that means? I gotta put her first, before everything. Yeah, that's what I think about you. Cause baby girl, you're all I wanna do.
This is Cheryl and Chris with the 502 Review, and we are here with Sean Patrick O'Brien, better known on social media as White Boy Sean P. Sean is, among other things, an R&B artist, and we're here to talk to him about the craft of music, his local performances, and find out more about him and what he has to offer. The local scene. Sean, let's start off and talk just a little bit about you in general.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about your development and how you woke up one day, opened your mouth, and found the perfect R&B voice.
Well, it's kind of developed over time with some people that I do music with and are very, very close to, consider family. But I've been singing since I was a young child, since third grade, I guess. Maybe I'd say probably second grade-ish, somewhere around there. I say I've been singing professionally since third grade because that's when I joined the Louisville Youth Choir, and I sang with the Louisville Youth Choir for a few years up until high school. Then I went to Youth Performing Arts School, and then that's where I met some guys that I started an R&B group with called The Gentlemen, and I guess that's what really sparked the whole R&B. You know, being an R&B singer and making R&B and original R&B and all that. So. It kind of started with those guys, I'd say, writing with those guys.
Fantastic. Now, were you always a fan of R&B music, or is it a taste that developed over time?
Well, I've always been a fan of hip hop first. I've always kind of been the rebel child, I guess, and so, you know, growing up, whenever there was this music that I was listening to that was saying stuff that my parents really didn't like, I was like, oh, that's great, and so, you know, I kind of had developed from there, and then learned more about hip hop, you know, and how, you know, it's a movement, and it's more than just, you know, entertainment, and how it's a lot deeper than just the surface. And so, and actually that was my first like love into, as far as poetry, lyrics, and all that, was hip hop. So, and as far as getting into music, but, you know, I was always singing church songs, you know, growing up, and then in Louisville Youth Choir singing classical and all that good stuff. So I've always been singing. So then whenever it came to high school and I started, you know, singing with these R&B guys, and we were making music, and, you know, and I also grew up, you know, with Boyz II Men and all that good stuff too, you know, listening to hip hop and stuff like that. So when it finally came that I was creating R&B with these guys, and, you know, and I had an R&B voice that was halfway decent, and I was like, okay, cool. Like, I just kind of was like, all right, maybe I could do something. So.
Do you think that, I mean, you put yourself out there as White Boy Sean P. Do you ever think that people are surprised when you do open your mouth if they've never heard you before?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that's really what the whole white boy thing kind of deranges from, is because of the fact that, you know, a lot of the people that I was hanging out with back in high school weren't of my color, and so I would, you know, do or say something that would remind them that I am a white boy. You know, they would be looking away and hear me sing, and they'd be like, who in the hell is that singing? That's a voice. And then they're like, oh, that's a white boy? What's up, white boy? You know, so and then it just kind of stemmed from that. And then when I was in the Gentlemen, I was the only white member of that group, and so they called me the white boy, and the white boy in the group. You know, they didn't really know my name, but they knew I was a white boy. You know, and then I sang at Tez of Too Deep, sang at his wedding, and a lot of his family knows me as Tez's white boy. You know, so it just kind of has stuck. You know, over the years, and I've just kind of gotten used to being called white boy, and that's where it kind of came from. So now that I've kind of grown and a lot of people recognize me as more than just, you know, the white boy R&B singer, I want to kind of be recognized as a great R&B singer who happens to be white. So now I'm going to kind of, you know, maybe take a little step back from the white boy, because what it started from first was on some cocky stuff, and I used to call myself your favorite white boy. So, you know, whenever I would go out and about, and my first album, what I wanted it to be called, you know, whenever I first came up with the idea to do Sean Patrick on my own, was Your Favorite White Boy. It was going to be the name of the album, but I was like, it's kind of, I know a lot of really talented white artists, you know, who are doing urban music, so maybe it's not, you know, the stance that I want to take. But, you know, it's kind of where it came from, just being called it so much over the years, and I just kind of got used to it, and then I kind of accepted it and grew into it with myself, you know.
So moving forward, there might be a branching off in your branding.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I'm very, very multi-genre also too, if that's a word. I think I just made it up, but maybe it's not. Anyway, I love R&B, but I love music to begin with. And since I sing, I can, you know, do different types of, you know, stuff with my voice. So that's why right now I'm you know, doing this R&B, hip hop, you know, kind of music that I make where I kind of sing and rap at the same time. But eventually my plan is maybe one day doing a country album, because I'm a huge Garth Brooks fan. That's one of my biggest idols. I, you know, maybe might even do some pop oriented type stuff, you know, EDM type beats. I've never really been a fan of that type of music, but you never know, you know. So yeah, I don't want to stick to just one box. So it's just R&B is where my heart is right now, and it's just kind of where I want to, you know, I guess, come out to the world of Sean Patrick, and then after that, we'll see. I mean, the sky's the limit, really.
Now, talk to me about writing music and the process of writing music. For you, is that an intuitive process, or is that something you kind of, like the more challenging side of what you do, or is that something that just comes really naturally easy to you?
I guess it just really depends on the time, the timing, because there's some days or weeks where you'll have that block and you can't think of anything creative at all. But then there'll also be those times or weeks where, you know, just stuff is coming to you like crazy, and like I'll put all these little one-liners and stuff that I don't. But let me start first. Most of the time, whenever I do a song, when I'm writing one song, I like to take the beat first and listen to the beat, and then I'll go in on the song, because most of the time, whenever I get a beat from a producer, they'll, you know, title it whatever they're feeling, or whatever they're, you know, whatever emotion they were feeling whenever they made that beat, or what it reminds them of or something. Most of the time they'll already have a name picked out for the beat. And most of the time I'll take what that producer was feeling and just elaborate on it with the words. But when it comes to those time periods where you just have creative stuff coming out of you and you don't have beats to write to, I have so many little like 2 or 3 one-liner things in my phone that it just like will come off the top of my head. But then there are those weeks that you just have those blocks and you just can't think of anything at all.
No, talk to me a little bit about the local music scene. Do you find this to be like a pretty accepting area for music? I mean, obviously we're known, keep Louisville weird, you know, the whole bit. And I think there's a thriving music scene where we're recognized for it. But to come up as an artist, do you find it to be a pretty inclusive, supportive environment, or do you think that there's work to be done there yet? Or?
I think, in my opinion, is that there's a lot of work to be done to the general population, because artists support artists. A lot of artists support other artists. For instance, I'm part of a group called I Am Royalty, and I Am Royalty is a group of, we had 14 at last head count, and then we added like 3 or 4 people in the last couple months, so I think we're about at like 20-ish, somewhere around there. But we also have, you know, a couple of videographers, we got photographers, we have 2 or 3 DJs on the team. Like we have basically a fraternity or sorority, a bond of artists and, you know, people who support each other and spread the word and show each other that we have dope artists in this city. So, because I actually just had this conversation with somebody the other day, and I was like, because I'm actually making a song touching on this topic, but I had a conversation with somebody, and I was like, it's crazy that, you know, people can sit there and pay all this money to go see this artist, and we have somebody that's better than them, you know, sounds, you know, just like them to you, you know what I'm saying, somebody who's not, you know, just the general population, but they're actually better than them, way better than that industry artist, and it's just, but there's a lot of people who still hasn't woke up. Bryson Tiller has woke up a lot of people's, but there's still a lot of people that hasn't woke up. And if you haven't heard of Bryson Tiller, he's the man right now. So, but
now you might have a bit of advantage if you've been singing professionally for that long.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me a little bit about like stage fright or nerves or butterflies. Is that something that you have to fight, or do you think you're just, you know, it's just something that's easy for you to get up on stage and just belt it out?
Right. I wouldn't necessarily say I get stage fright just getting up on stage, because once I'm up there, I'm up there. It's more how they're going to feel about my music, really, more than anything. So, because once I get up on stage, I black out. Like, I really don't know what I'm doing, except for I know the words and I know what I want to do, but it doesn't always, you know, end up that way. And so, but whenever that moment right before you're about to go on, of course, you get butterflies. Any artist that says that they don't, then, I mean, they're not loving this anymore. You know what I'm saying? Because that's why we do this, because we want, you know, we want to impress. We want to, you know, emotionally connect. And so, and if you're not a little bit nervous of how, if you're going to connect with the crowd or not, then you're really not doing this for the right reasons anymore. So, but that being said, I don't necessarily get nervous getting up on stage anymore, just because, as far as, you know, actually getting up there, just because I've been doing it for so long now. But I do get nervous as far as what their reaction is going to be. Absolutely.
Talk to me a little bit about making money as an artist in this town. Is that something that's challenging?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And what do you think?
Starving artist.
What do you think it's going to take to fix that?
Like I said a minute ago, I really think it's just going to take the general population waking up and seeing that there's a lot of really, really dope, talented artists who could be signed and making just as much money as the person that you're going to the Yum Center to see. Like, really. Because, I mean, if this city will flock to go see this person or that person, then why wouldn't you flock to, you know, so-and-so bar tonight to go see somebody who's just as dope? Like, you know? Yeah. And I feel like in other cities they do that really well, because they have the support from the media also. And the media around here is coming around, but not as fast as some of the general population is. So, because, I mean, for instance, Bryson Tiller would have never got played unless he moved to LA. So, you know, and that's kind of unfortunate. But, but at the same time, there are a couple of DJs out there that are trying to do what they can to break it in there. It's just too corporate right now as far as here in Louisville.
Well, I mean, I look at the cost of making music.
Yeah.
I mean, promotions, T-shirts, merch, paying for beats, paying for studio time, and in some cases paying to appear on stage.
Yeah. And when you just put it out there and just throw it on SoundCloud for free.
Yes.
And just because you want to be heard.
Right.
You will literally do whatever you can for free promotion or to get heard. And there are some promoters who are putting these artists on stages to get heard. But, I mean, it needs to translate over. So, but at the same time, too, there are some of these artists who are doing it in Louisville, and I'm not going to knock anybody for living their dreams, but there are some artists in Louisville who are doing this who maybe shouldn't be doing this, and I think that also makes a lot of these people who, you know, maybe would think about paying some of these artists not, because they can just get somebody else for free, because there's so many rappers and there's so many. I mean, there's not a whole lot of singers that are really dope, but there's so many of. It's almost oversaturated, I guess. So I don't know. It's kind of a hard, you know, justification as far as on both sides, because I can feel where the promoters are not paying us, but at the same time, I'm a starving artist, so of course I'm like, please, anything. Like, I remember Jared, shout out Jared at Highland Tap Room. I did a show there, and he gave me a $25 bar tab, or a $30 bar tab, and I was elated. And I went and told Justin Shokan Sang, who's another R&B singer, one of Iron Royalties. I went and told him, dude, we got a $30 bar tab. What? And he ran over to the bar, and man, it was a blast. It was a good time. So, but I mean, you know, and Jared didn't have to do that, but at the same time, I mean, it's really kind of give and take what we're going to bring into the bar as far as a crowd. So, and at the same time, I mean, that's why he pays us, you know, what he does. But it's tough. It's tough.
Now, in your perfect world,
yeah,
where would you like your career to go?
Honestly, in a perfect world, I want to be making music and able to never have to tell my daughters that I can't afford it, basically. So whether that be I'm singing backup for, you know, whoever, or if I'm, you know, writing for, you know, whoever, it doesn't matter what I'm doing. Or if I'm singing to Sean Patrick, that would be great. But really, I would just, or if I'm singing in a cover band, you know, it really doesn't matter. If I'm making music and supporting my family by making music, then I've made it. Because that's really what I want to do.
Fantastic. Now, talk to me a little bit, if you were going to offer some advice to maybe somebody in middle school or high school, who this is their passion, this is what they want, what would you tell them from things that you've learned along the way, good, bad, and ugly?
I think that I would have to tell them for sure to stay focused, stay consistent, and to definitely perfect your craft and get as good as you can possibly be at it.
Okay, fantastic. One last question, and then we're going to cut it loose. And this is like my standard go-to last question I ask everybody. It's basically to turn the floor over and give you an open forum to speak to whatever you want to say.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well, in that case, my name is Sean Patrick. If you haven't heard of me, now you know a little bit about me. And I really, really just want to say to you guys to, let's see. Oh man, it's a little tougher than I thought. I'll start it over.
We edit. It's cool.
Yeah, I figured. But, really, the only thing that I want to say is I would say please support us in whatever it is that you do, because music is life. For most people that I know, a lot of people, you know, listen to everybody listens to music. So you never know who might be living next door to you. There could be a, you know, incredible script writer. There could be a wrestling booker. There could be a pro wrestler, an R&B singer, a sick rapper living right next door to you, and you would never even know it. So talk to people, support people in their dreams, and look me up on YouTube, SoundCloud, all that good stuff, Twitter, Facebook. So, and please support me. So
tell them how to find you.
You can find me at soundcloud.com/whiteboyseanp. And that's spelled S-E-A-N. It's the Irish way, if you didn't know that. And you could also find me on Twitter and Instagram at whiteboyseanp. And you could also find me on Facebook. Facebook.com/whiteboyseanpmusic is my music page. My Facebook page is facebook.com/whiteboyseanp. I'm taking as many ads as I want. If whoever sends me an ad, I'll add them. Until I can't add any more, 5,000 limit or whatever it is. So, but yeah, just follow me and stay posted. There's a lot of cool stuff happening. So.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much. Appreciate you
guys.
We're done.